onto the pile of needles to get to the other side. And these are the kids, this is the reason, friends, why we're here today. We can't forget it. These are the kids who are the true heroes.
We go to build schools overseas, but it is the kids who we work with who teach us the lesson. In communities like Ecuador, we were building at the base of Mount Chimborazo, an incredibly rural community there with the poor haying dunes. It's so isolated. The only way to get there was this tiny mountainous goat path. But we arrived with our group of young volunteers, about 15 Canadians, and we were building the school, but we were running late. We didn't have our school supplies in time. It was harvest season, and the local community were loading their mules with corn and maize and beans and sending them down to market down this tiny, winding mountain path. And we had our mules with the school supplies, the wood, the cement, coming up the tiny, winding mountain path. There was a traffic jam of mules. So we sent ours down, and theirs crossed first, and then we came and we had our supplies, but we only had 15 set of hands. Even if everyone worked through the night, we never finished the time. So we went to the village elder, we explained our problem, we asked for her help, and she said, "No problem. I'll call a Minga." A Minga. Never heard this word. She stepped out of her home, this tiny hut, and she shouted these words. She said, "There will be a Minga!" And we stood around. We heard her shout these words. We were all excited. But nothing happened. Nothing at all. And then we literally set our kerosene lamps. We were working through the night. We had no idea what she just said. The next morning, though, we woke up a little past dawn, and we came to see hundreds and hundreds of people. I have photos of it. Women came with a baby strapped to their back, and men, they left their fields. It was peak harvest season. Children walked 4 or 5 hours each way. They never normally benefit from the school. They came out en masse to help and serve. We turned to this woman, the chief, amazed. We asked her, "What happened? What's a Minga?" And she explained to us it's like a rallying cry in her language. It's a rallying cry where everybody stops whatever they're doing and they come together for the collective good. We don't have a word in our language for Minga. That's, for us, what means to we. That's philosophy. That's our rallying cry in our language. This is Mi'dawee. Mi'dawee is a generation of young people who are born where we've globalized technology, we've globalized commerce, but we haven't yet globalized our compassion. Mi'dawee is recognizing we are interconnected in this world and we depend on each other. Mi'dawee is small acts of kindness from the local to the global. Mi'dawee is a movement whose time has come. What is right and what is just, and is bringing social justice into our lives. It means the fact that we're going to spend $1 trillion this year on the military that we don't have to. That's more than $2 billion a day. That's more than $90 million an hour. Or if it's recognizing the fact that we're going to spend $18 billion this year in our world on makeup. But the United Nations says to stop hunger and malnutrition for every child would cost only $17 billion. Or North Americans alone will spend $17 billion on dog food and cat food, which is more money than we spend on foreign aid. But only take an additional $15 billion to put every single child in the world into school. Or my personal favorite, Europeans will spend $11 billion this year eating ice cream. But to stop the spread of AIDS in Africa, according to the United Nations, $10 billion. Less than the ice cream budget of Europe to stop the spread of AIDS in Africa. It's not a money problem, it's a values and priorities problem. And part of this philosophy is recognizing that and saying, we're going to do something. And that's what today's about. That's what the United Nations Millennium Development Goals are about. I know you guys have been learning about that in your schools in preparation today through the curriculum program. And whether it be the eradication of poverty or women's rights or the environment, this is the plan moving forward. And one of the most goals that we're most passionate about is that of education. Because if we can provide universal primary education